Sofie kicks off the story by gearing up for her first day as director at Lund Lagerstedt. No sooner does she step through the doors than she greets CEO Ronnie and arranges a warm-up gathering for the whole staff. Suddenly, in storms the jittery temp technician, Max. He's late, he's loud, and the room plunges into instant chaos. Back at her office, Sofie is jarred by a grating buzz behind the wall. It's reckless Max drilling away again. She snaps, insisting he shift his noisy work to after hours so the team can focus. Regaining her composure, she convenes a fresh meeting with literary chief Lund Lagerstedt and sharp PR ace Denise. That night, Sofie heads home and spills every detail of her whirlwind debut to husband Johan. She confesses the company is stuck in the Stone Age, still shuffling paper instead of clicking screens, and it will take real sweat to drag it into the present. Later, restless, she sneaks into the bathroom and streams erotic clips to calm her nerves. Next morning, the racket from Max's drills rattles Sofie again, and she snaps, ordering him to hammer after hours so everyone can breathe. That night she stays behind, queues up spicy videos, and tries to chill, never spotting Max's phone sneaking pictures through the crack. Dawn breaks and Max brazenly waves the photos in her face, bragging about his proof and laughing at her shame. Learning he's broke, Sofie flashes cash to make the images vanish, but he twists the deal. Buy him lunch or the files stay. Over sandwiches, a friend wanders by. Max vows the shots are gone, yet Sofie distrusts him, grabs his phone, struts back to work, and feels victorious. Chaos flares when Denise and Friedrich clash over racy posts spewing from their hacked profiles. They race to Max for a rescue, only to learn he can't fix a thing without the phone Sofie snatched earlier. A light bulb flicks on. Sofie grasps that the cyber attack is Max's crafty ploy to win back his mobile, and she can't help admiring the stunt. In the restroom, she slicks on her signature lipstick, strides out, presses the tube into his palm, and challenges him to outwit her this time. A baffled Max pockets the lipstick. The next dawn, Sofie cracks open a sleek envelope from Max, sealed with a crimson kiss. Inside, the note lays down a daring rule. Whoever clutches the lipstick must obey a command, and he orders her to unleash a shout at anyone, just not him. She prowls the office for a target, yet only the secretary surfaces, politely reminding Sofie she'd granted her an early exit. Frustrated, Sofie glowers at Max through her glass walls. Later that afternoon, Sofie steps outside, bumps hard into a speeding cyclist, and her paperwork explodes across the pavement. Max dashes over, scoops up every sheet, then presses the lipstick into her palm. His silent code that control now shifts to her. Hours later at a glittering party, Johan publicly cuts her down with smug jokes, making her cheeks burn. On the ride home, she furiously messages Max, commanding him to whip up outrageous mayhem in tomorrow's staff meeting. Next morning, cleaners burst into the middle of the staff meeting, lugging mops and coffee mugs. Max boldly announces that Sofie invited them, flawlessly pulling off her wild stunt. He snatches up the lipstick, fires a text laying down his own rules, and orders Sofie to appear early in a flashy 90s pop star outfit. Sofie complies, jaws drop as she strides in wearing neon and sequins, and Max cheers, grabs the lipstick back, then plants a joyful kiss on her right in the street. That afternoon she fetches her daughter, Isabella, whose teacher applauds her sharp mind yet labels her withdrawn, urging Sofie to help the girl blend in. With just 48 hours until the book fair, Sofie clutches the lipstick like a baton and slips Max a daring note. Give them a spectacle they'll never forget. Max answers by blacking out every bulb, melting into the shadows, then popping back up to thunderous gasps. Sofie beams in approval. That night, she spies through her hotel peephole. There's Max, trembling outside her door, yearning to step inside. During the next day's press conference lunch, Sofie bristles as Max flirts with the secretary. So she hisses a dare, "Make this dull room explode." He spots an unattended kitchen, slides a secret dose into the desserts, and whispers that she mustn't touch a crumb. Staff inhale the sweets, tempers flare. Friedrich and Denise bicker, then bodies slump across the tables, leaving only Sofie and Max wide-eyed and upright. Fallout strikes fast the next morning. As HR storms in and a gossip blog blasts L&L's mad dessert fiasco, Ronnie panics while Denise spins frantic press lines, and Sofie silently thanks Max that she stayed clear of the cakes. Later, Sofie whisks Max to the pool. They float, laugh, and drift back to the hotel, where passion finally erupts. After the fair, she hides at home for 3 weeks, dodging his messages. Max storms over, scolds her silence, and although she calls their fling a mistake, she surrenders to him once more. Johan bursts through the door, and Sofie blurts that Max is only there to fix the dishwasher. Max crouches by the machine, rattling tools for show, yet his eyes blaze at Sofie's lie. The next day she begs forgiveness. Max softens, invites her to the house he shares, and they wander hand in hand all afternoon. Under a peeling ceiling he admits, in a cracked voice, that his mother thinks he's a complete failure. At dawn they head to the office together. The watchful secretary whispers that Max could report Sofie for dating the help, but he waves the warning away. Sofie presses the lipstick into his hand, trading it for one wish. Visit your mother and spend your birthday with me. Max's grin says yes. Birthday scene unfolds that weekend. Sofie walks into Max's modest kitchen, clutching a homemade cake. His mother's glare softens when Sofie sings off-key and lights a single candle. By dessert's end, she admits Max might not be such a failure after all. Sofie whips up a tray of sweet cookies for Isabella, but Johan sneers at her effort, and she dashes to the bathroom in tears. At the very same moment, Max visits his mom and kid brother, proudly flashing a photo of Sofie, stunning his mother by admitting she's older, married, and already has a child. Later, Johan bluntly announces he's moving the family to London and expects Sofie to quit her job. Furious that he decided alone, she storms into Ronnie's office and states she'll relocate. Outside, Max hears every word, erupts in front of the staff, and corners Sofie on the street. She calls their affair madness, claims she wishes they'd never met, and flings the lipstick into traffic. Crushed, Max collapses at his desk, sobbing, while Sofie prays for a miracle to save him. In the chaos, Friedrich rescues the day. He champions a dazzling debut novel left by the unnamed young author, persuading Ronnie to shelve the risky streaming deal and double down on real literature. The staff rally, and the firm's future brightens just as Sofie's private life darkens. That evening, Sofie phones her estranged father, Lars, who babbles about old protests and lost dreams. His fragile voice reminds her why she once believed in wild choices. Hardened by the call, she wipes away tears and heads to dinner with Johan's friends. At dinner the next evening, Johan needles Sofie in front of his pals, even branding her father crazy, until she finally snaps. She bolts from the table, storms to the publishing house wearing only a bathrobe, crashes straight into a board meeting, and tears a contract to shreds before stunned colleagues. She strides back out, and Max hurries after her, heart soaring as he grasps that Sofie has ditched London and shattered every social rule to stand beside the young man, still fighting to carve out his place in the world. Epilogue flashes forward 3 months. Johan files for divorce. Isabella spends weekends in a sunlit flat where Sofie and Max paint the walls teal, and Lund Lagerstedt tops the bestseller list with that new author's breakout hit, proof that both love and literature can find fresh starts.